Hi, Alan.
Hi,
Yeah, welcome on board.
thank you. Am I too early or too late?
Um, I think I'll say early, which is great anyway.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. Help me pronounce your name well. I think I've failed to pronounce your name. I'm now pronouncing it as Freeman on.
Whichever one that works for you, or you can just call me Dummy.
Wow, that's cool.
Dummy is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Hi, Precious. Hi, Nene. Okay, I think I need to make you guys calls. Oh. Okay. Welcome everyone. Um, just a few. Just give me a couple of minutes. People are still trying to join. We're going to start shortly. Uh, wait. Mm, Just a couple of more minutes will be good to go. Okay, welcome everyone to the Teach Innovation webinar series. We, I think we have, okay, we have quite a number of participants here, so we'll be starting very shortly. I'm just having a little bit of trouble getting my computer to respond. So just 1 minute, please. Okay. Okay. Think Sincere apologies for this. My computer just decided to um, act up a bit. But I think we'll just get started, uh, depending when it comes up. So, hi everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Teach Innovation webinar series. This is the part four, and we have amazing set of speakers today. People who are doing amazing jobs, who are beating the odds to ensure continuous learning in this period. Um, so I want to make a special welcome to Ang. That's from Malaysia. Hi, how are you? Uh,
Hi. Hi, I'm
yeah,
good.
welcome.
Thank you for having me here. How
Thank you
is
so much for
everyone?
joining us today. Yeah, we're doing very
Yeah.
well, thank you. Yes, and we also have with us today Alan Otodi from Uganda. Hi, Alan. Alan, are
Hi
you there?
everyone. Yes,
Okay, great. You're welcome.
thank
Uh,
you.
Yes, it's great to have you here. We have Precious. Precious, I'm still trying to unmute you. My system is acting up a bit. So just a little bit of minute. Yeah, good to see you. Yes, we also have a number of other speakers that will be joining us online. I think Nene is here as well. Nene,
Hello everyone. This is great to be here.
yeah, great to have you here. I won't take our time. Um, I'm hoping my computer comes off shortly. I mean, this is one of the challenges we have in this period. Connectivity, a lot of these challenges, and this has proven, especially for schools in low-income contexts, uh, and then some countries like ours where internet connectivity is not exactly as forthcoming as we would expect it to be. So, okay, I think my computer is back. Is back. So let me unmute Precious. Yes, here you are. So Precious, you can unmute yourself now. Precious, are you there?
Yeah, thank you, Dami.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yes, so great. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It's a great pleasure to have all of you. We've been having these sessions for the past. This is the fourth one, so which means for almost a month now, and we have looked at different issues that might have come up during this pandemic, especially as related to the low income and low cost contexts. The first session we had, we looked at social and emotional learning as it affects teachers, parents, and students. And we had on the session Wendy Turner from US. She is an award-winning teacher and an SEL expert. We also had in a second week speaking to um, repositioning local schools for post-COVID. What happens to local schools at the end of this pandemic? A lot of us might begin to think that okay, this is just like one of those crises, and then things will go back to normal, and then everything will be as it used to be. But permit me to be the one to bring this to you that it's things will never be the same after, because this is a global pandemic. It affected even the greatest nations of the world. It has changed the way we think. It has changed the way we educate our children. It has definitely changed the way we live. So it is in our best interest to begin to think of how to, rise up to the challenge and refocus our energies to coming up with solutions and ideas to deal with such crises if it may ever reoccur. And so I just want I don't want to take much of our time. So I'm going to invite Ang now from Malaysia. She is a teach for Malaysia alumna, and actually over there now it's 10 p.m. in the night. So I've decided to let her speak first, so that in case she wants to turn into bed early. So Ang, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm
Yes,
gonna
please
share
go
my
ahead.
screen. Yeah,
Okay, you can share your screen.
I can. I can. Yes, I am sharing. Just,
Okay, please do. Yeah,
can
thank
you
you.
all see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
And please, before you go ahead, please, participants, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat box. We will definitely attend to as many as possible. Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Yes. So I will do a little introduction about myself first. So my name is Ang Chilting. You can call me Chilting or CT. I am currently the program lead for Project ID. I'm going to introduce what is Project ID later. So I was a Teach for Malaysia alumni. I taught English in a school from 2017 to 2018 last time. And now I'm working for Project ID. And so what is Project ID? So Project ID is a social enterprise that runs student empowerment programs that focus on leadership, values, and career aspirations. And our vision, our core vision is actually to improve the social economic status of the underserved communities in Malaysia through education. Yeah, so this is how it started. It was founded by three Teach for Malaysia alumni in the school that they serve. So they found out that the students, when they speak to the students, when they ask for their occupation, the occupation that they mentioned are like doctors, police, firefighters. So, and then they try to delve deeper into like, why is it so, like, is it because they don't know of the occupation, or is it because they are not exposed to different occupation? And this is how it started. So they found out that the students in all these underserved communities, they are not aware, they are not exposed to the different career out there. So then we started doing this Project ID. Project ID actually stands for Impianku Destinasiku, which means my dreams, my destination. So we actually help students to identify their ambition, and also help them to like understand how they can reach the ambition. So before MCO, we were very active in going to school, developing a school programs such as camps, workshop for students, for high school students. We also work with our Ministry of Education on tackling some of the issue in schools, such as bullying, as you can see from this poster. We work with UNICEF and our Ministry of Education, MOE, to recruit and prepare students to speak in the Parliament on an anti-bullying school policy. Yeah, we also work with corporates. This is CIMB Bank, a bank to run Unity Camp for students all over in Malaysia. Yeah, so we have been around for 7 years. Actually, I just joined last year. And this is the impact that we have so far from the impact survey that we ran last year. And this is some stories from the students. This is Haja. I worked with her since last year. So she is one of the students who joined Project ID program. And as you can see from the picture, she wanted to become a doctor. And fast forward to now, she's actually doing computer science under a scholarship by a corporate company in Malaysia. And that is because she was exposed to the different career pathway and a different industry when she joined Project ID, that she was able to like expose and find out that she actually liked doing computer science as well. And these are other testimonial from the other stakeholders that we have worked with. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is to the related to the current topic. This is I'm going to share some of the things that I know from my point of view, the current learning situation in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, because of the pandemic, the government actually announced MCO on the 17th March that that the MCO will begin from 18 March to, I forgot, for 2 weeks to until 31st March. But then it was extended 4 times until 9th of June, like next month. So what happened was, after it was announced, our Ministry of Education actually conducted a survey, and they found out that 36.9% of the students, they do not have electronic devices with like across the 900 students that that was involved in the survey. And then they also realized that as lesson move online, the teachers and students struggle with uneven internet access. So what our government do currently is they actually launch a TV channel to allow access for education in Malaysia. So it is a collaboration between our Ministry of Education with communication and multimedia industry to allow to allow education to still continue during this pandemic. Yeah, and then so for like this is the approach that they are taking, and this is from today, because our recovery rate is at about 80%, and there hasn't been any recorded death for the 7 consecutive days. So our chief health officer actually mentioned that the school might reopen on the 9th June. So as our friends working in the ministry, and they mentioned that they're actually drafting SOP, so standard operating procedure on how school will look like if school reopen. Yeah, so this is what I know about the learning situation in Malaysia now, and I will share about what are our responses to continue to make sure that learning continue during this pandemic. Before I proceed, is there any questions from the floor?
Okay.
Or we will only receive questions at the end?
Yeah, you can please go ahead. The questions will come at the end. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so for this part, I'm actually going to separate into what I'm doing in Project ID in response to the pandemic. And then I'm also going to share about what our partners are doing and what I know of that, like the teachers in Malaysia are doing, those teachers that I know. Yeah, so so for Project ID, we actually have solution. I mean, we have a solution for students with access or without or limited access. So we actually launched a Project ID after the MCO was announced. And so what is Project ID Online? PID Online is our team actually made a deliberate decision to cancel all our projects, our physical projects this year, and move everything online. So, and then we call it PID Online, where we run sessions with students online to and still maintain. Like we actually transform some of our programs, existing program, to run it online, such as a career sharing session and some of the workshop also. So PID Online actually we are actually it has been conducted using Zoom, because we recognize that human interaction is very important, and genuine engagement is necessary to develop the students. And we actually launched this 2 days after MCO was announced. And to date, we have run more than 28 sessions with more than about 600 student participation from all over Malaysia. So these are the 3 programs that we are currently running. The one that I mentioned just now is the online career sharing session, where we invite role models from different working industry to share with our students. Like as you can see from the picture here, she's actually a news anchor from a local comms and multimedia industry, Ashra Awadi, and on the and the picture on the right is actually a doctor, a frontliner that is working in with to treat COVID-19 patient. Yeah, so like they share their experience with students to allow them to get inspiration and to learn what are their pathway to be where they are right now. And our second program is a workshop series where we run online workshop, interactive workshop with students to teach them some values and mindset. So we have run workshop from teaching students how to manage themselves during crisis, on like journaling, on what they can do at this time and how they can support others. And last 2 weeks, we actually ran a series of program on design thinking and project management because that was the interest from the students. Because after every session, we actually collect feedback from students to understand what are the topics they're interested in. And the last program that we launched is CEO series, where it is similar to the online career sharing session, but this is the people who have accomplished in their career. They are the CEO, the managing directors of different companies and industry in Malaysia. So in the picture here, we have Dr. Elizabeth Lee. She is the CEO for Sunway Education Group in Malaysia, one of the top private university education, top private university industry in Malaysia. Yeah, so after running like this online program for a while, like to allow access for, like to allow education to still continue for students with access, we continue to up our game to innovate and see what we can do more for our students. And these are the other programs that we are piloting right now, like to help students to develop 21st century skill and to make sure that that develop the skill set needed for the future. So this is Aspirasi Online because, as I mentioned just now, Project ID, we actually focus on running to helping students develop their interests and also achieve their career aspiration. We are actually trying to pilot like it online to see if we can allow students to simulate the different occupation via the Zoom breakout room and the workshop that we can do with students. And this is also something that we are working with our partners like trying to conceptualize a program on hackathon, like to help students to problem solve by developing apps. And this is an inspiration because I talk to a lot of students. I'm still in touch with a lot of my students from the school that I teach, which is an underserved community. And a lot of them actually mentioned that they just want to learn how to sustain during this crisis. And then we have this idea of doing this student venture to teach them how to run business like online so that they can find a way to sustain during this difficult time. Yeah, but we are still at a conceptualization stage at the moment. And these are other programs that we are also piloting now, like to further develop students' skill set and mindset. Yeah, so this is our impact in 2 months actually. Yeah. And these are some of the testimonial from our students. And yeah, so we actually uses Telegram to engage our students, to update them what are the programs that is coming, like what are the upcoming programs, because we also found out that Telegram is very accessible for students, and there is polling features where we can interact with our students. So we'll ask them questions like what are the things that you are interested to find out more, and like some of the feedback we also collect via Telegram. And yeah, so this is our website. I can share with you later for more information. So these were the 3 programs that we had last week. We were on break because of Hari Raya last 2 weeks. So besides the 3 things that I mentioned, we also work with different industry to allow students to benefit from to get information on things that interest them. And this is something that we did with a university in Malaysia. So we actually invited 2 speakers from the university to talk about how COVID-19 affect their post-SPM university plan. SPM is the high school assessment, public assessment that is set by Malaysia to be set by all high school students before they graduate from high school. So like just talking, because when we continue to engage our students, we find out that they actually have this concern: how is their university plan going to be affected due to COVID-19? Now school is closed and the exams are cancelled. Yeah, and before I go into talking what we are thinking to do with students with limited access, I also want to share this survey with you all that we did we launched this survey last 2 years because we really care about what students think, and we actually wanted to understand from students' point of view so that we can improve the way we run session. So we actually launched this survey, Your Voice Matters, to understand how Malaysian students are learning online. So these are some of the data from the survey. So we actually, in 1 week, we collected about 700 students from all the states in Malaysia. And we actually focus on only high school students, 13 to 18 years old students. We initially targeted only 400 students to get 95% confidence result, but we actually gotten more than that. So from the survey, we found out that, I'm not sure if this is relevant to your country, but from our survey, we found out that WhatsApp and Google Classroom are the most common platform used for online learning for our students in Malaysia. So when we read their qualitative responses, they actually mentioned that because WhatsApp and Google, WhatsApp is the most accessible platform available, and Google Classroom is also at the top because in Malaysia, our Ministry of Education actually has been training teachers on using Google Classroom to teach online. So it is kind like the official platform that is being encouraged by the ministry for teachers to use on online teaching. And these are some of the qualitative response. I can translate this. So these students actually mentioned that it's very easy for him to see what are the homework or what are the information uploaded by the teachers on Google Classroom. And then these students, whereas he say because the different teachers are using different platform, so she felt confused. Yeah, and because the schedule also is complicated. Yeah, I'm not sure why the color is different. Okay, all right. So when we run this, like from the survey, you also understand that majority of the students in Malaysia, they still prefer offline or in classroom learning because of all these reasons that you can see from this bubble. Because it's more fun, it feels more authentic. They are able to interact with the teachers more. There's clearer communication from the teachers, and it doesn't require internet access. Yeah, and for students who prefer online learning is because of the flexibility, and also because they can learn at their own pace, they can manage themselves better, and they can learn new skills. So we realize for students who actually prefer online learning, they are students who are more ready for independent learning. And then when we ask them how they feel about online learning, so majority of them actually feel positive, while about 35 of them feel negative. So we actually classify calm and steady under positive. But and when we look at the qualitative response, we actually found out that they actually don't have any students who mention any positive feeling, but more on negative feelings because of they are not used to online learning. Yeah, so this is some qualitative responses. So initially they feel lost and confused, but after they are able to regulate themselves, they felt that it's quite interesting. And these students actually felt stressed and worn out because they have to look at their screen all the time. So these are the challenges that being faced by Malaysian students in their online learning. And very true that poor internet connection is the problem. Even though we understand that students who are taking this away, they are already the students who have access to internet, because we actually launched this survey using Google Form. Yeah, and we so even with students, even for students with access, internet connection is still an issue for them. And followed by that, the second challenge is unclear and inconsistent learning structure, because in Malaysia, suddenly we have to pivot to online learning. So I believe a lot of teachers are still adapting to the structure. And the last thing that they call out is lack of engaging interaction, as we are all still experimenting how to create a more engaging learning environment with students online.
City.
So, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think we should probably go to the questions now, because of time, if that's okay with you. Or you have a few more to go.
Sure, I will speed this up. So,
Okay.
okay. So this is the last questions. So we also ask students what is the ideal online learning environment experience for them. This is what we get. And so I will fast forward to what we are doing just with what we are piloting right now with other organizations. So for students with limited access, we are actually thinking based on students' feedback. We are thinking to provide materials for them. So actually, these are the materials that I have from my workshop, but we actually are making a guidebook for them so that students with limited access, like maybe we can send it to them so that they can learn it themselves independently. Like this is something that we are piloting with Teach from Malaysia. He is also a Teach from Malaysia alumni. And what Teach from Malaysia is doing is they actually partner with Bain and Company to launch a distance learning initiative. They actually consolidated all the best practices that they can use for school leaders, teachers, parents, and students on how they can continue learning from home on the microsite. Yeah, so I can also share the link later. And it's very interesting because it like for students with different technology or bandwidth level, they actually suggested different things. Yeah. Yeah, and they also Teach from Malaysia also work with YTL Foundation to build a free online lesson for all standards in primary and secondary school. And the link is there that I can share as well. Yeah, so these are other organizations, what they are doing. My readers, they are using WhatsApp to engage their students. They also conduct their training with their volunteers on Zoom, and they also uploaded videos on their Instagram and their YouTube. And this is Arus giving training for teachers. They also uses Instagram to allow access for education, WhatsApp, and so I actually like how they actually use this to allow students to choose how they feel or what they want. And this is another organization that is running different webinar with different school leaders to teach them like what they can do now during crisis, how they can react. Yeah, and they also actually send a lot of to their belief, like because of the Maslow hierarchy of needs, and they work with a lot of school from underserved community. They actually work with other YTL to send food and necessity to them. Yeah, and this is what other teachers in Malaysia are doing. They actually make YouTube videos. This is my colleague from Project ID. He actually used Google Classroom to engage his students, and he uses Padlet to encourage discussion. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, CT. That was a great presentation. I think the very first thing that struck me from your presentation was when you talked about some of the programs you offer to your students online. Um, One of them was student ventures, and I know that it's something that we've always been talking about. This, I mean, we need to start looking at engaging students to be relevant in the world, in the society. So, which is not just a question of giving them theoretical knowledge. It's also about making them relevant and ensuring that they are able uh, to deal with the current situations, the realities. So thank you so much for that. But I have one question first. The first set of programs you mentioned earlier that you run online, does it come at a cost to students, and at what cost?
It is free for students for all the programs that we are running online.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yes. And one other thing that I mean, some other things that you also mentioned was the fact that um, a lot of platforms, especially the social media platforms that people have taken advantage of, or disregarded over time. It's only for media, it's only for posting your pictures and all. People are now beginning to open their eyes and then see the potentials in using this for learning. You made mention of Instagram, YouTube, WhatsApp, Google Classroom, which a lot of people have access to, but it has never been used for educational purposes before now. And with that, it makes me want to say to everyone here today that this is not actually a time to start thinking of inventing the next big thing. It's not just about being the next big innovation, being the next Albert Einstein, be the next the rest of them like that. Some of the greatest inventors we have. We can go back to the basics and make use of what we already have to deal with the current situations. And I think one last question, and I'm going to. I wanted to ask earlier, but then the last set of your presentations has already answered that. You, especially what Teach for Malaysia is doing, looking at children or students at different levels of access. Those without access to technology whatsoever, those that have some, those that have all the access. So thank you so much for your time. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know if any of the participants have any question. There's none at the moment. So if you can just wrap up in, I mean, just 1 minute to give your final before we move on to the very next speaker. Just wrap up, or do you have any message to the participants?
I think I just want to conclude that as educators, it's very important for us to unlearn things that we already know, teaching in a classroom, to relearn how to teach online. I think that is the most important takeaway that I have, like from my experience running sessions online now, because the principle is the same. How you can manage students in a classroom or online, but the strategies are different. So like the theory are the same, but it's just unlearning what you know and relearning how to do it online. Yeah, I think
Great.
that's it. Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much
much.
for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Um, Thank you, everyone. So sorry that I mean, if you feel that we've taken so much of your time, we'll just go straight to the other speakers. And please note that you have less than 10 minutes to share your experience or what you have with us today. So I'm going to go on to, I think Rejoice is here. So Rejoice works with Teach for Nigeria. She works in Kaduna, and I mean, she has done a number of things. I mean, personally, I've worked with Teach for Nigeria myself. I was 2017 fellow and a current alumna alumnus of Teach for Nigeria. Teach for Nigeria, and I know that the kind of content she works, a lot of them don't even have access to phones, talk less of other forms of technology. So I think I'm just going to give her the floor to share. Rejoice, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Dami. Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. My name is Rejoice Samuel. I'm a 2018 Teach for Nigerian Fellow, currently working in a low-income school in Kaduna State. So like we all know, the pandemic struck us and it forced all the schools around the world to close down. So for me, I work in a community where majority of the children, 98% of the children in my class do not own a smartphone. And 90% of my children's parents do not know how to communicate in English language. So using technology like per se, use of smartphones, online learning and all that, it was difficult for me. So in collaboration with the parents, we decided to create learning worksheets. So every week I would create learning worksheets on different subjects, have them translated to Hausa so that those parents that can't read English language will at least read Hausa language and interpret to their children. So it's been 5 weeks now. We've been running it for 5 weeks and it's been amazing because the turn up is so great. So every week when I go to collect the materials, I find out that everyone has done the assignment. So it's been an amazing journey and it has also given me the opportunity to teach children skills that are not taught in their classroom. So like this week, we started doing financial literacy. We had a fellow create a lesson on financial literacy for the children and we introduced them to financial literacy. So surprisingly enough, yesterday when I went to distribute the worksheets, I asked all of them because we had children that are not even from my own class, other children in the community joined. So I asked them a question, do you do financial literacy in your school? And they all said no. So it's also giving me the opportunity to teach children other skills that are not being taught in the classroom. So far, I've been able to reach 120 children. And yesterday, we adopted 20 children in another community that is not in my own community. So far, the kids have been engaged and it's been going on well. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Rejoice. And I think the very first thing that struck me from your story was the fact that regardless of the context that we find students, that it's absolutely possible to ensure that we continue to bridge the gap of inequity. Now, one thing I've realized with this pandemic is the fact that even before now, we've always been talking about inequity, how some students or some, the children in certain communities or certain contexts have very limited access to education. But what this pandemic has done is to widen that gap. But to now have, vibrant young people continue to deliver, value. Um, Now you have identified the fact that most of your students do not even have access to any form of technology at all. And for you to do worksheets to continue to engage them, that is an absolute, that's an awesome job from you. I just have one question for you in case others might have questions. My question is, what are some of the challenges that you encounter? You said you've moved on to about 120, students now, even beyond your own community. How do you take care of, the social distancing? One, and secondly, what are the other challenges that you have encountered?
Okay, so basically the challenge I've been encountering is trying to get the worksheets to their home. I don't have a car, so I have to use my legs, use a bike, use any available means of transportation to me. So it's not easy moving from one house to the other of 120 children. But then because it's something I love to do, something I really want to do, I find the courage to do it. So here in Kaduna, our government allows us to move around on Wednesdays and on Thursdays. So I take Wednesdays to print all the materials I'll be needing. And on Thursdays, I move from house to house, dropping it. And even before we started, we had to ensure that all the children get face masks. So we gave all the children face masks and also sensitized them. So when I come to the house, it's not like everybody is going to gather around me or anything. So we also observe social distancing. The parents just come out, pick the worksheets, and I explain what they have to do for the week. So there's also a provision for collecting their contacts. So in case there's any difficulty they experience within the week trying to get the kids do the work, so they have to call, and then I'll explain what is on the worksheet to them. So that's how I've been able to navigate through the challenges. Thank you.
Great, very well done. And I think the very first thing, I mean, what came to my mind was there is no excuse. There is no excuse to not, ensure that every single child have access to education. And then you have exemplified that today to us. Thank you so much. I was even going to ask you, how you ensure, how you give feedback, but with the fact that you mentioned that you have their contacts, I think that makes a lot of, a lot of sense. Thank you so much for the wonderful work you're doing, and thank you so much. So I'm just going to move on quickly now to another speaker with us today. But this time around, I want to go to Nene.
Yeah. Hello, Dami. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Okay, so I just have a very brief presentation. Let me just quickly share my screen. So my name is Nene Ibezim, and I am a 2018 Teach for Nigeria Fellow. I'm a 2018 Teach for Nigeria Fellow. I am currently teaching children in low-income communities. Okay, I'm trying to share my screen now. And Dan, please, can you let me know once you can see my screen?
Okay.
Once I'm able to do that.
Okay.
All right. So okay. So
What
can
are
you
you
see
trying
my
to share?
screen now?
No, not yet. What are
A
you trying to share?
PowerPoint slide. Can you see my screen? A PowerPoint slide.
Oh, okay. Not yet.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just
Oh,
going to
okay.
send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me
Can
via
you see it?
WhatsApp and then on
Okay.
WhatsApp.
So I'll send it to you. Yes.
Yes, send it to me via WhatsApp and then you can continue. I'll put it up once it comes up.
All right. So when the lockdown started, I was quite worried about um, my kids and their learning. And one question I kept asking myself, and I even had to ask my kids as well, is how I can ensure that they continue learning even in this period of the lockdown. And one of my kids eventually shared, inspired what I currently do now. What she did was she just mentioned to me, "Oh, Miss Nene, why don't we continue our writing project?" And that idea really stuck with me, that okay, so this is something she was interested in doing, and it was something that was actually possible to do, despite the fact that we did not have we didn't have the physical classrooms. So what I did was I started to reach out to parents of my kids to ask which one of them had access to either WhatsApp, or because some of them had siblings that were around, so they had access to phones. So that was how I designed the creative writing class for my kids in the community. The creative writing class is aimed at improving the reading and the writing of children in lower primary school. So we are using WhatsApp and Telegram to deliver the lessons. We're using WhatsApp and Telegram to deliver the lessons. So we organize the classes 3 times in a week. We do the lessons 3 times in a week, and that's on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and it's just for 1 hour. Okay, so Dami, have shared the slides with you on
Okay.
WhatsApp.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do these classes 1 hour each day of that's out of the 3 days. This is because we understand that we are not in normal times, and as much as possible, the children do need time to actually, get to do other things as well. So for the classes, one key thing that we've been able to do is to ensure that our lessons are bite-sized. So we ensure that the learning content that the children receive are actually in bite sizes so that it is not overwhelming and it is as engaging as possible. So we make use of images, we make use of videos, we make use of audio files as well. So one thing that we've made sure to do is that we ensure that any media that we are sending, if you're sending a voice note, it doesn't exceed 20 seconds. If you're sending a video, it doesn't exceed 1 MB. So we ensure that we put into consideration some of the challenges that some of the parents face. So we've really worked at compressing all our content just so that it's easily and readily available to the kids. So we use Telegram. The reason why we decided on Telegram for our lessons is because Telegram, with any media that is sent on Telegram, it gets saved in the cloud, doesn't save on phones. So the children will always have access to it at any point in time, whenever. They always have access to it. So a typical weekly lesson, how it goes is we have what we make use of rhymes, we make use of game activity, we make use of also some social emotional learning activities as well. Our goal is to provide a very rich learning experience for the children, even though they are not able to have this because of not being in school. So so far the feedback really has been remarkable. I that feedback has been remarkable. The using engaging media, especially pictures, So because we understand that a lot of the children have different learning challenges, some are not able to read on their own, some of them struggle with writing. So as much as possible, what we do is we try to take all of these challenges into consideration when delivering learning content. So for instance, if we are talking about a particular topic, for example, if we are talking about kindness, whatever learning content we are sending, if you're sending an image is always accompanied with an audio file. So whatever is in the picture, is always accompanied with an audio file and text as well. So that will take into consideration visual learners, audio learners, and the likes. So that's the way we deliver the lessons. For feedback, we also try as much as possible to make provision for different children learning styles. So there is liberty when it comes to the feedback mechanism. So it's either the children get to actually draw a painting of their response, or write it, or actually send a voice note. So we give all of these different opportunities for the children to give feedback on any lesson that we learn in a day. So they get to choose which feedback mechanism they would like to make use of. Another thing is for the parents of the children as well, because the thing is, in doing something like this, in virtual learning, actually, for you to record a lot of success, or for you to actually reach your goals, you have to engage parents effectively. In fact, I think this is the first time in history that parents are now playing like central role in a teacher achieving his or her learning goals. So you have to engage the parents. If the parents are not bought in and not on your side, then really it's not going to be easy. So that's another thing that I had to do. Starting point was investing the parents in the objective, what I wanted to achieve. So the parents of my kids know what each lesson is about. They know the goal. They are deeply invested. Quite frankly, it's more like the both of us are actually delivering the lessons. So I think that's one key factor to really, um, if you want to facilitate virtual learning for children. So that's one key thing. Then another thing I quickly want to say is we've also been able to design a virtual learning reward system for the children as well. Because even though they are not in classrooms, it doesn't mean that children still do not need the motivation to learn and complete any assigned task. So we've also designed that as well. So what we do is I actually learned how to do 3D animation videos. So for any top performing child of the week, the child gets a personalized animation video for him or herself. So the child gets that, and it really motivates them to be effectively engaged in the lessons. Then also there are other opportunities as well. The games that we do, so the winners of the games that we do gets a personalized graphic as well. So these are some of the things that help keep the children engaged in learning. And I think as much as possible, it is necessary that children are engaged at this point in time. Finally, I'm really thrilled about the social emotional learning activities that we've been doing. We do it every Friday, every Friday. So every Friday we get to teach listening skills, we get to teach understanding, we get to teach showing gratitude, different emotional skills that actually helps the well-being of children, especially in a time like this. So even the parents of the children are actually shocked and surprised at some of the feedback they're actually getting from their children by virtue of these conversations that we have. So that's basically what we've been able to do so far. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes. So lastly, on the slide that I've sent to Dami, so there's just a brief overview of the structure of the creative writing classes that we've been able to put together. I try to attach one or two pictures to the slide as well, just so we can get a sample of what it is about. So yes, thank you, Dami. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you so much. I think what we'll probably try to do is to share this later with everyone, um, so that we don't take much of our time. So we have with us, as much as we want to focus on students or children, we also need to put a lot of effort on the teachers as well. I know that for most teachers, having to transition online or to look for other alternatives to engage children in this in this period, it becomes a bit tasking and engaging for teachers. I have with us here Emmanuel Andrew, who is engaging teachers during this during this crisis. Emmanuel, hello, Emmanuel.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, how are you doing? Good evening.
I'm
Over
doing
to you,
fine.
sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Just go ahead.
All right. Good evening, all. My name is Emmanuel Andrew, and I am a teacher for Nigeria Fellow, 2018 Fellow from Kaduna. Well, I want to appreciate Mr. Dami for the privilege to share what I've been able to do in this period of crisis. Well, for me, the period of crisis came as a shock. To that extent, I didn't expect it to come to us the way it did. But then we were able to do a few things to prepare the minds of our kids uh, for the long period of stay at home. And then I and my partner in the classroom, we oriented the kids that this is what is going to happen. That we're going to be. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello, hello, Mr.
Please go
Dami. Can you
ahead.
hear me?
Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead. We can hear you.
All right. So we prepared their minds that this is all what is going to happen. We are going to be have a long period of stay at home. And then, so what do we do to ensure that we keep learning at home? That was the question that we placed before the pupils. And so some of the suggestions that we are using today came from the pupils themselves. They said we could keep in touch via our phones. That was where the idea came in. So I dropped my number for the general class to put down. And so they did. That was what helped helped the class entirely this period, because while they were staying at home, calls started coming in. Uh, Good afternoon, sir. What are we going to do in this period? We have been home and we are not been doing anything. All right. So that was when I started placing calls to the parents of these pupils to ask how we're going to collaborate to help these kids continue to learn at home. The engagement with parents hasn't been smooth, considering the nature of the place we are in, coming from the north. But then we were able to get a handful of these parents, about 25 of them, to be committed to this work that we're doing. So I started engaging them, asking them questions. Do you have access to the internet? Can you be able to connect to the internet if required? And almost all of them had no access to the internet. So the phones they were using were just the normal small phones that have no access to the internet. So then I felt really bad because all of my plans, all of the things that I wanted to do were get towards using the internet. But then we I started thinking, I rethink, and then I saw that there are other available resources within the microenvironment of the pupils that can be put into use, because most of the parents of the pupils are not literate. That is to say, they cannot really be able to help the kids as it were. So I started asking them, how who are those people around you? Do you have people that can be able to help these kids around you? And some of them said yes, they have pupils, individuals that can help these pupils around them. So then I started talking to the parents, and then I said, if you'll be able to talk to this person, we'll be able to work together with them. And so they started contacting other resource persons around. And so I begin to speak to these individuals around the microenvironment of the pupils, and that's how we started engaging with them. And one serious work that I'm doing with them is to try to let them know the things that the kids should be learning, that is within the confines of the curriculum, because some have not had this teaching experience, and so they don't really know what a primary two pupil should be learning. And so I am now working with them to say this is what this pupil should be learning under this course and under this course, taking a serious look at the curriculum. And so we went on. So basically, on a daily basis, I get feedback from the resource persons available in my kids' environment to ask how how have you done this today? What have you done today? To see if they have actually done something. And then I relate also to the parents to ensure that they encourage these people, because the work is not going to be easy to continue to engage kids uh, as it is. And then there were challenges I faced with some of the parents. I have like about 95 pupils in my class, but most parents do not really commit to their kids' education, because even while we give them their books to take home to their parents, so that they will continue to learn in this period of crisis, some of the parents do not really show any concern, because after engaging them in talks, they seem not to even understand and what the kids are learning or should be learning in this period. So I started engaging them to see if they would contact this resource person within the micro environment of the pupils to see if they would get those people's book across to them to also help them with this learning period. And then
Okay.
I was thinking of engaging teachers also within the environment of these pupils to see if they can be able to reach out to them, if I will connect with them so that I will be sharing things via WhatsApp with them, because some of the teachers within the school environment that we are in have access to internet, right? So if these pupils could just go to them and then have access to these things as a group and then disperse to their various environments. So
Okay, sorry, Emmanuel.
that is what we have. So on a daily basis, I try to engage the resource persons within the micro environment of pupils.
Okay, great. Sorry to cut it short. We're trying to keep to time. But let me just ask you one question. So far, how many teachers have you been able to engage? You made mention that you are, reaching out to some teachers. Yes, you made mention earlier that you've been able to engage some teachers around where students, are domiciled. So my question is, how many of those teachers have you been able to engage? Can you hear me?
All right. I have I had response from five. Yes, I can hear you. I had response
Okay.
from five teachers from my school where I'm serving. I created a
Okay.
video about growth and fixed mindset and then tried to relate it to this current crisis that we're in. So
Okay.
in our school, we have a platform, a WhatsApp platform for all teachers. So I dropped that video there, and then I got response from about five teachers that uh, have agreed to work with pupils around their environment.
Oh,
So
great. Great.
on
Thank,
based on that, those teachers are currently taking those ones as their responsibility.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I think it is very important. The reason why I stress on the teacher part is because it's one thing for you to be able to reach a lot of students, but engaging other teachers in this period to be able to reach out to more. What you will do is to create a chain reaction, and in that process, a lot of students or children can be reached. Thank you so much for your work, Emmanuel. Very quickly, I think I'm going to go to Uganda now. I think they're 2 hours ahead of us. So,
Right.
Ellen, are you still there?
Yes.
Yes. So, sorry for keeping you waiting this long. Let's just have you. Just go ahead.
All right. So
Would
my
you
name is, pardon?
go ahead? Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to be very quick, and I would actually love to answer a question from you. So
Okay.
brief background of myself. I think my name is Alan Otodi. I teach for Uganda Fellow. And yes, I work in rural school somewhere in eastern Uganda in a district called Mayuge. And that's where I'm working. So I think when COVID-19 came to Uganda and school were closed on 18th March, uh, then I think one thing that struck me was now uh, people are leaving and these children are also going home. As a leader, what kind of solution do I have for them? Do I also follow other teachers that are going, or should I remain? So I kept thinking about this for about 2 hours on what to do. So I just decided to say that I'm not going anywhere, because as a leader, if you see a problem, do you run away from it, or you wait and face the problem and find possible solution for it? So I think that is what kept me around. So basically, that is what I can say about me. Maybe I would now love to answer questions from you. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just going to go straight to those questions. First off, can you describe to us the current learning situation in Uganda, especially where, I mean, around your own area?
Yeah, I think the learning situation, I would say at some point, at some part of the country, it is not going on as expected. You remember that children are at home, and 90% or 99% of these children come from a poor background. They don't have access to smartphones. They don't have access to maybe TVs. But I must say that what the government did was they tried printing out learning self-study materials and distribute it. They were distributing it to the students, but we all know that some of these children never got these kind of learning materials, and also in in response to that, my organization, that is Teach for Uganda, we were tasked to make self-study book, and which is now being distributed to the schools that we work with, and it's really amazing. But I think the learning in some part of the country is not going on as planned, and also, yeah, I think that is what I can say.
Okay, thank you. Now, what are you doing currently with your students, considering I mean, to bridge the inequity, I mean, gap, to bridge the
Yeah,
learning gap?
well, I should be able to tell you that when when they when the lockdown began, I sat down and thought of what to do. I was like, now what can I do? What innovative ideas do I have? First thing we did was we started something called SMS teaching, like trying to send um, questions to these children, because we had their numbers on our register. So we tried sending these SMS to these parents, but we realized that 90, in fact, these children don't know how to use this phone. That is one. Since they don't have access to internet, they also don't know how to use this phone, and also they don't know how to read and write. So this was a problem, and we decided to teach uh, that option out. So and what we embarked on was delivering delivering learning materials to these children one on one. Like you go to their home, you deliver a self-study material, then maybe you give them 2 days, then after 2 days you go and pick, or you tell them to come and pick from you, and they go and do it, and they bring it back. So basically, that is what me and my co-fellow, because we decided to remain in our community. So that is basically
That
what we
is
are
great.
doing.
That is great.
Yes.
I remember when I spoke to you some time back, I mean, about this session, you made mention of the fact that while others left, the school, being in a remote area, you decided to stay with your colleagues to ensure that, you continue to deliver, value to your students. And I mean, I was saying earlier from when City was sharing about using existing platforms, you made mention of using SMS, to teach. So thank you so much for that. So I'm just in like 30 seconds. Can you please, I mean, what are some lessons that you have learned, with this crisis, and what would you suggest, educators and teachers can start looking at, post COVID, post the pandemic?
I would say that there's nothing that is impossible, and we should always have a sense of hope that in every situation, in every difficult situation, there's always a possible solution for that. So as teachers, as leaders, we need to find out what kind of solution do we have for a particular problem. And when we're looking at COVID-19, let's not look it at a point of view that it has done more harm to the population, to each and everyone. But what I would say that people are becoming more innovative as a result of COVID-19. So let's look at it like at it like that. That COVID-19 has brought something new, has brought a new wave of they're calling it a new normal. So I think let's look at it as something positive also. That is what I would love to say.
Okay, thank you so much, Elan, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you on. We have just two more people, and we'll quickly rush through through their presentations, and then we'll be done. We promise to finish by 4:30. And nothing more. So right now, one of them has a very low battery, and she will have to go very soon. So I'm going to have to call Marcelina. Marcelina, over to you, please. Hello, Marcelina, are you still there? Oh, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, good day, everyone, wherever. Is Marcelina Okalo. I'm a fellow of Teach for Nigeria, working based in northern Nigeria, Kaduna State to be precise. And I'm glad to be here. I missed you to share my experience. Thank you so much for having me, Dami. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So what the question? Can you hear me? Hello.
Hello, yes, Mark.
Okay.
Are you done?
What's the question you asked?
Oh, okay, yes. I think just tell us what has been your experience so far. Amidst this crisis.
Okay, my experience is, well, for me, it was more of a proactive decision. This pandemic has come and has kept us for a long time now indoors. But I remember clearly when this was to happen, the headmistress called every one of the teachers in school and then broke the news to us. And she said that we will not be coming to school for the next 1 month. So I thought it was just 1 month, actually. I didn't know we would have to stay at home to this time, for 2 months now. Meanwhile, when she said it, it was just then that it hit me that you mean these kids will not have, access to learning. They will not have to always come to school. What would happen to their learning? Would they just sit at home like that? And I love to give them homework. So I thought quickly that I should give them textbooks. So somehow in the north here, there's a way the libraries are always stacked with books, and most times don't get to use them. So I spoke with my partner. We had a meeting, and then we agreed that we were going to give them books if they'll be permitted. It will be permitted for us to give them the books. So we went to our head teacher, and then we shared the idea with her. We asked her if we can be permitted to have textbooks from the library, and she affirmed, she agreed. It was so delighting. So we went and picked, we have 47 kids in our class. So we picked 47 mathematics textbook and 47 better English textbook. Yes, and then we gave to each and every one of our kids 2 textbooks, math and English each. And then before the lockdown, there was an initiative I started for literacy for my kids. We started, it's called Read Out. They get to read. And whenever they read, they come present what they read. So I also decided to share storybooks for them, something like this. And it's exciting for them because they always, children love stories. So something like this. And that was it. They went home with the books. But then before they left, I took out time to, more like I took them a session on goal setting, how to go about reading every day. So I told them when to read. You know how
I think your network is a bit. Hello, Max. Marcelina, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yes.
All right, so 1 hour each for math and for English every day. And then I told them that they should do that from Monday to Friday, and then Saturdays they should leave math and English and then enjoy their storybooks. And that was it. So it was more of a proactive decision, not a decision I took after the lockdown. It was before the lockdown. And it's been beautiful. It's been amazing. The kids have been utilizing the resources, and that's it.
That's great. Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
so
Yeah, you have something else to say?
yes, I was going to say that we started calling them from home to find out if they doing the work, and the results we've been getting has been amazing. Then before we started calling them from home, and then it's been amazing results. But then the stepped down relaxed the lockdown. Okay, the idea began from my coach. My coach gave me some face masks to share to our kids because it was obvious that adults buy face masks for themselves, but they don't get to buy for the kids. So I took the day I shared my face mask, it was profound, the joy, the excitement, and then it afforded me opportunity to also mark some of their books. So whenever I go, I check their notes and what they've done so far. And that's how I get my own feedback. So I get to mark their books. And I was so delighted with what I saw from the few homes I first visited. So it just challenged me to do face masks, my own face masks that I could share, because the one I shared didn't go round. The first set I shared, whenever I go to a house and I try to give just my kids, it was not possible because the kids were all over the place. So I had to just distribute the face masks, and it didn't go around for my own kids. So when I came back, I decided to do a face mask project. So I started going from door to door to knock at people's door and ask them for wrappers that they don't use. And the feedback, the response was so exciting. They were willingly and ready to give me wrappers. So they gave me wrappers, and I contacted tailors, about 2 tailors who agreed they were going to do the sewing for me for free. I just got the materials and I gave them, and they did the sewing. So it was now another opportunity for me to really go around and visit more of my kids. And each time I go with my pen. So we talk, I check their notes, I mark their notes, and I give them face masks. The face mask is been like a means that has afforded me opportunity to really expand and visit more of my kids, because some of the people I called, like when I was calling their parents, some of them, the fathers are mostly not at home, and when they get to, they promise me that when they get home they will get back to me, and probably 1 out of 5 parents will be the only ones to get back to me. So this face mask project was really the hit, the bomb for me. So it gave me the opportunity to go around houses, mark their notes, and then we get to exchange. Those that have finished reading their books, we get to exchange story books.
Wow.
I'll ask this one, have you finished? And then sometimes when I go visit, one or two would like to follow me to other kids' houses. So we go together, they go with their storybooks, and they exchange storybooks with the other person. Have you finished? I've finished. Okay, they exchange. And it's been amazing. And sometimes I ask them, who do you want to reach out to in our class? And they call their best friends, and I give them the phone numbers. I also encourage them to, interconnect with each other and try to call. And it's been amazing. Really, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think what your story has, made evidence to us is the fact that there might be social distancing, but arts are still connected. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Now, over to Precious. I think I'm sorry I made you the last person to talk, but it is intentional, and everybody will understand why it is intentional. And I'm going to leave these words, and you might understand what it means after she's done talking. Teaching is not a profession; it is actually a calling, and it takes only the called to actually go through this. I mean, to make it through crisis. So, Precious, please, over to you.
Hello. Dami, I could hear you whining me while you made me the last person. I accept the compliment. I accept the compliment. Hi, everybody. Thank you to everybody that's spoken. I'm taking a lot of notes, and I'm so inspired. I cannot believe Rejoice goes to the house of 120 kids and works there, and it's just really inspiring. Okay, so what I have been doing in this period is, okay, so I did two things. I mean, I undertook two projects, and I'm just going to talk about one quickly because that is I believe is the way forward. So, there's a lot of research that shows that, next to the physical classroom setting, that is the orthodox teaching system, the next best thing to teach, to ensure the teaching and learning continues, is through video content, because, it caters to the kids' modes of learning. Kids learn visually, auditory, kinesthetics, and now writing. And so, video is able to do that. And so when the pandemic started, I decided to digitize the Nigerian curriculum, because when I went online, I saw that majority of the educational content that we have online are from the Western world. Like you see, I don't have any statistics to back that up, but you will see that majority of the educators, majority of the teachers that are teaching are white people, are Caucasians, and then I'm trying to, for my kids, even to see somebody coming from the city, Lagos, or somewhere else that is not Ogun State, and within their immediate environment, they're still shocked. They are unable to process what exactly they're supposed to be understanding, because they're just still in, oh wow, this is a different person. And you want them to learn with that kind of content, they're just going to be, there's just going to be a lot of shock. So I decided, okay, so what I was going to do was to create indigenous educational content for my kids, the kids in my classroom, and subsequently for kids in low-income communities. The video content I was able to create, they use English and Yoruba, and I have been able to get in touch with other fellows, and we're trying to create content that exclusively in the Igbo language, exclusively in Hausa, and all other Nigerian languages. So that was the major project. That was the first project I started. Then secondly, I decided, okay, so we have all these video content. What am I going to do with it? There is no way for me to get it to my kids because they don't have smartphones and everything. And not to what's the word? I don't want to try to, push down anyone's work, but I think the most sustainable way going forward for education to continue is through the use of technology. And that was what I was that was what I wanted for the kids in my classroom. So I decided that, oh, okay. So what I was going to do, I started a fundraising campaign to get money, and then I was able to acquire tablets for all the kids in my class. I'm working on expanding that reach to more kids in the community. Sorry, and I'm working on expanding that reach for more kids in the community, for them to have access to technological devices like tablets or be it laptops or whatever they can use, just for so learning can continue. And so all the video content I did in my first project, we put them onto the tablets. We put games, we put movies, we put books, workbooks, and all the likes, and we put them into the tablets and we distributed them to all the kids. And so right now, learning is still continuing. Learning, sorry, I beg your pardon. Learning is still continuing. On Mondays to Fridays, I'm able to, they have access to like a lot of video content, educational content that we make. And I just tell them, oh, today, this week, oh no, not this week, today we are going to watch this video and you're going to, go to your workbooks and answer page this, page that. And then when you do that, you send it to me, and then I evaluate, I assess the work you have done. And so that's how learning has been continuing for the kids on my end.
Well, perfect. Now you know that I'm not whining you. And I'm just going to ask you just one question. What drives you?
I think what drives me, that's a very loaded question. But what drives me the most, I think it's the kids that I work with. They deserve, I think that's the best thing I can say. They deserve the investment. They deserve every form of effort. They deserve every form of attention that you give to them. And so that's what, just each and every one of them, I just think of Usman, and I'm thinking that, this is such a smart boy. If he was in any other setting, if the only thing that differentiates me or other kids is just opportunity, basically. And I just think that if he was in any other setting, he would have the best of education, best of opportunities. And I just think of them individually, and I'm fired up to do more.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Precious. And thank you
Thank
to all
you.
our amazing speakers. I think what you guys have done for us today is to make us understand that it is not just about, the crisis. I remember our second session, Mr. Ahmed made us understand that, in the Japanese, they actually write the word crisis with two strokes. And one of them means problem or challenges, while the other one means opportunity. As much as as obvious as the crises, as problems and challenges are, we should not take our eyes and minds away from the opportunities that present to us to be better people, to be better citizens, to be, to create solutions out of the crisis. Thank you so much, all our amazing speakers today. We sincerely appreciate you for coming on, and we sincerely hope that your work will continue to speak for you, and then also to your children, to your kids, to your, I love to use the word kids or children. I was in the classroom myself, and when I would say my kids, people will be like, oh, how many have you given birth or stuff? But I think it's more of the bond and relationship we have with the students we have with us. And with this is actually the very last in the series. And for those that have joined us right from the beginning, from day one, which is from the 6th of May to this present time, we want to say thank you so much. For those who are just joining us, thank you for being a part of this. We know that it's been an awesome journey, a bit rough a bit, but thank you so much for being with us. I know some people have asked if they can have access to the other sessions we've had. They were all recorded, so if you want to have access to them, please send a mail or send a message to any of this, either the number or send a mail, and then it will be made available to you. Also, this one is also recorded. Thank you so much, everyone. We sincerely appreciate you, and we hope that we'll all make it through this period, and we'll smile at the end of it. Thank you so much, our speakers. Thank you so much, the participants. Thank you, everyone. So bye now.
Thank you. Thank you, Dami. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Dami.
Yeah, you're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.